Sometimes franchises just get insanely lucky with their quarterback situation. For example, the Packers had Favre, Rodgers, and now Jordan Love in a row. The Colts managed to go from all-time great Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck, who really was a spectacular football player. But instead of good management, they actually managed to destroy the career of Andrew Luck and caused him to walk away from the game in the middle of his prime. But how exactly did this happen? How did the Colts go from a competent franchise under Peyton Manning to literally wasting one of the most promising careers of the 2010s? Hi, I'm Jake with FootballLore, and today we will be exploring how the Colts managed to waste a potential Hall of Fame talent with Andrew Luck. If you like football videos like this, then be sure to press the like button. It helps the video in the algorithm, and we're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Andrew Luck had set the college football landscape on fire when he attended Stanford. Over his career, he threw for over 9,000 yards and 82 touchdowns to become arguably the best quarterback in the school's history. He came in second place for the Heisman once and won the Maxwell Award, Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, and Walter Camp Player of the Year Award. His play in college was so great that in 2022 he was inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame and the Stanford Hall of Fame in 2023. Obviously, after a performance like this, the NFL was lining up to get a chance at Luck. The hype for him was so real that some fans of teams who were having a bad season started lobbying their team to suck for Luck and tank to purposely get the #1 pick. Andrew Luck was considered to be one of the most draft-ready quarterbacks in the history of the game, and with Peyton Manning gone with injury, the Colts would go on to an abysmal 2-14 record to secure the first overall pick. They released Peyton Manning and had decided the future of their franchise would be Andrew Luck. Obviously, those were massive shoes to step into, but somehow Luck would manage to exceed expectations. He was taken with the first overall pick of the NFL draft, and before the start of the season, he signed a 4-year, $22 million contract with the Colts. His first pass in the preseason was a 63-yard bomb to Donald Brown, and this was a great omen of things to come. Even though the Colts had been an abysmal 2-14 the year before, he managed to guide them to an 11-5 record. This was a record for a quarterback drafted first overall, and he also broke the record for most passing yards as a rookie with over 4,000 yards passing. He also had 23 touchdowns on the way and set himself up for a promising career as an elite quarterback. This is also the beginning of problems that would plague him throughout his career. The Colts had been bad, that much was clear. This meant their offensive line was not great, and Luck was one of the most hit and sacked quarterbacks in the league. Obviously, this shows just how talented he is. While most quarterbacks getting hit this much would shut down, he still managed to have the best rookie season in history. The one thing it did start to affect, though, was just how long Luck's body could take this beating. Hits in the NFL have been compared to small car accidents, and having your franchise quarterback constantly take those hits is not going to do good things for their longevity. In 2013, he still was taking a lot of hits, but managed to put together a great season with another 11-5 record alongside 3,800 passing yards and another 23 touchdowns. The lack of an offensive line also led to him scrambling quite a bit, and he had 400 rushing yards for another 4 touchdowns as well. They managed to win a playoff game, and he made another Pro Bowl as a result of his great performance. In 2014, he kept taking those big hits, but put together another great season. At the end of his third year, he compiled a third 11-5 record with another 4,700 passing yards alongside 40 touchdowns. This obviously was a huge step up, and it was clear that it had clicked for Luck when it came to picking apart defenses in the league. However, the Colts had still not done enough to beef up the offensive line, and he was getting tossed around every game. While he was still young and able to bounce back usually, it was just a matter of time until he would be hit and injured. You simply can't sustain a beating in the NFL without being hurt. Just look at how long NFL running backs are able to stay in their prime. No matter how talented of an athlete you are, you will eventually succumb to the hits you take on a weekly basis. The pressure was also ever increasing on Luck. He really was one of the few bright spots on the offense, and most of the Colts' success depended on him performing well. Enemy teams knew this and would focus their defense to relentlessly target Luck. They could send blitz after blitz to keep him on his toes, knowing that there weren't really any other threats they had to worry about on the ground. They lacked the strong running game to draw attention from Luck, and that is partially partially why he was so consistently hit. Everyone knew he was on the Colts team. They also were not doing a good job of utilizing free agency to get him better teammates to play around. When you have a talent like Luck, it is the time to spend like a maniac to build an offense around him. Instead, the Colts appeared to be taking the approach of slowly acquiring pieces while Luck took a beating in his prime. Most of the receiving talent the Colts attempted to bring in didn't work out. Other than Ty Hilton, they didn't have many hits when it came to acquiring offensive talent. The years of punishment were starting to show on Luck's body, and the lack of supporting cast wasn't making it easier on him as his body began to break down. In 2015, the team picked up his fifth-year option, which guaranteed him $16 million. In weeks 4 and 5, he suffered a shoulder injury and missed the first 2 games of his career. During a huge hit against the Panthers in November, it was found that he had been hit so hard on a play that he had lacerated his kidney and torn his abdominal muscle. Just like everyone had predicted, the countless hits had added up and became a life-threatening injury that meant he was going to miss the remainder of the season. The Colts missed the playoffs as a result, and Luck took the offseason to recover. A lacerated kidney is a very dangerous injury. If it isn't treated quickly, it can soon lead to irreversible health effects and even death. Here, Luck was literally putting his life on the line for a franchise that wasn't willing to pay an offensive line to protect him. The Colts did sign him to a new 6-year, $140 million contract with $87 million guaranteed, which made him the highest paid player at the time, but he would miss 1 game this season with a concussion. Following the season, he also had to undergo surgery on his throwing shoulder that had been lingering since the year before. In 2016, his stats were solid. Even with missing a game, he threw for 4,200 yards and 31 touchdowns. At this point, everyone in the NFL knew that Andrew Luck, when healthy, was a top 5 QB in the league, but staying healthy was proving difficult with how little protection he had with the Colts. Seriously, even this far into his career, they still had one of the weakest offensive lines in the league. The hits were seriously starting to affect his body, and the past injuries were always a risk to flare up on another huge hit. In the 2017 season, this would rear its ugly head when it took longer than expected to recover from his shoulder surgery the offseason prior, and he missed the entire season. His injury was so bad in his shoulder that he had to travel to Europe to seek advanced treatment for his muscles to regenerate properly. Years of abuse had made his body slow to heal, and as much as we wished our favorite players had Wolverine powers, it was just very unlikely to work out that way. After this, he went to LA to work with a throwing coach to get his form back, and going into the 2018 season, the Colts were ecstatic to have the player who could carry their team to the promised land back. They did go big this offseason and drafted Quentin Nelson to help beef up his protection. In 2018, he had another All-Pro season with 4,600 yards and 39 touchdowns. The Colts had a 10-6 record, and after this many thought he would be back soon to lead the Colts yet again. He was only 29 years old, and we all know quarterbacks can play well into their 30s at a high level. However, he would shock the world in 2019 when after just 7 seasons he retired in his prime. He had just come off of an absolutely massive season, but his heart was not in the game anymore, and he wanted to step away from the field and leave his career behind. Sure, money was not an issue. He had made tens of millions of dollars in guaranteed money alone without any sponsorships. But usually NFL players keep their love for the game alive enough to not want to step away in their 20s. This obviously shocked the league, and after he made his decision, he really did step away from the public eye altogether. The Colts were left stunned and have spent the years since scrambling to try to put together a team that would be able to perform at the same level. However, when you are trying to replace a talent like Luck, that is almost impossible. They had been given a gift by the football gods when they had a chance to draft Luck right after having Peyton Manning for most of his career. All they needed to do was beef up their offensive line and protect Andrew Luck to keep him healthy, and they could have had another 10 years of Super Bowl contention. Instead, they let him take a beating to the point he totally lost his passion for the game and didn't want to play anymore. After the amount of injuries he had at the hands of his weak offensive line, I really can't blame him for wanting to step away. Sure, the money is great, but once you already have $100 million, it's not like an extra $10 million is going to make a difference anyways. Andrew Luck got to walk away at the absolute top of the game in a way most people can only dream of. I really do firmly believe if he would have played out the rest of his career, he would have ended up in the Hall of Fame with a Super Bowl. The Colts really blew it when it came to managing Andrew Luck. I think they thought they had the process perfected after Peyton Manning and never expected to be in a situation where Luck played just 7 seasons. As I said, Luck disappeared from the public eye after announcing his retirement, and it wasn't until 2022 when he spoke more on the reason he walked away from the game the way he did. He said injuries played a large role, but a larger reason was that he wanted to save his marriage with his wife Nicole. The pressure of being an NFL quarterback had created friction with his wife, and Luck felt stepping away from the game was the best way to save his marriage. I have to give big respect to someone willing to walk away from the game, and millions to save the marriage they committed themselves to. He ultimately chose his wife over his football career, and while some may ridicule this, it's important to remember there are lots of things more important than football. The mother of your children and your life partner is on the list of things more important than anything in life, especially if it is putting your body on the line. No wife wants to watch their husband destroy their body for anything. Luck was able to walk away and spend his full-time efforts with his family. The Colts could have prevented a lot of these issues, and I do think they look back on this era with a lot of regret for mismanaging such a talented player. They had a chance to build a dynasty, but fumbled it with boneheaded player personnel choices that left everyone scratching their head. If you have Andrew Luck on your team, you get an O-line and you get receivers. It really doesn't seem that complicated. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate you taking a second to press the like button, leave a comment on how you think the Colts wasted Andrew Luck, and if you like videos like this, we post 2 football documentaries a week. You should subscribe and help us hit our goal of 10,000 subscribers this year. Our last video was about all the NFL franchises that have gone bankrupt, so be sure to check it out. Thank you for watching.